Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I saw this picture that Link2 tweeted out, and I was just, I thought it was a good picture. Link2 Team Apollo members, top investors in Link2 platform, take photos with Ripple CEO at XRP Las Vegas, and then Yasin Mubarak, who, he must be a customer, just bought some pre-IPO shares of Cerebras, not financial advice, but he's, Cerebras, I need to check that one out. The link to Link2, my sponsors, in the top of the description. Private equity, you got to be accredited. You can go contact them and find out if you are. Now, I saw something cool I wanted to show you. 1 o'clock, Secrets of Jekyll Island, the historic meeting place that shaped the financial world as we know it. This is going to be Jim Rickards streaming live. And I thought this sounded really cool. Look at what they're going to do it. I'm assuming from the room that the Federal Reserve was formed in. And look at some of the things they're going to talk about. CBDC bombshell that could erase America's freedoms as July 1st, 2023. Time to prepare is now. Urgent insight on gold's massive run to $3,000 and beyond. Here's how you can play gold and silver in 2023. The surprising end game for the U.S. dollar and why the USD will cease to exist as we know it. Exclusive and uncensored. The panel discussion is live and won't be censored. Lock in your seat now. How a secret meeting in 1910 manipulated the life of every man, woman, and child in America and is coming to a head 113 years later, and much more. That is going to be cool. Secrets of Jekyll Island. I'm not being paid anything. This isn't a sponsor or anything. I literally just ran across a tweet. And so this is going to be interesting. All right, check this out. This Peter St. Onge, if I'm saying that right, he's really been putting out some great stuff recently. Listen to this.
New data from the New York Fed and the widely watched University of Michigan inflation survey suggest stagflation is on the way for the first time since the 1970s. First, the official data. On Friday, the New York Fed said its iconic recession model now shows a 68% chance of recession, which is up 10 points on the month. This is the highest level since the horrific 1982 recession that saw nearly 11% unemployment, the worst since the Great Depression, and that lasted 3 long years. Note, we have had 3 actual recessions since 1982 that did not even hit today's level on the Fed model. Meanwhile, new numbers from the University of Michigan show Americans are losing faith that the Fed can actually control inflation, as expectations for the next 5 years inflation jumped to 3.2%. That is the highest in 15 years. Note, it is even higher than during last year's raging inflation that ultimately hit 8.5%. In other words, the public gave the Fed the benefit of the doubt last year, but now they are losing faith that the Fed remains in control.
We're in a, well, it's like they said right here. It's coming to a head 113 years later. That's exactly right. Now check this out. You know, when the other day when Empower and is it Jason Foster, when they put out the other day the thing about the Freedom of Information Act, and they were filing a lawsuit, and I think another lawsuit the other day about ETHgate, it kind of brought a lot of things back up to the surface. And here, Mr. Huber, he says, he's talking to the Coinbase General Counsel. He says, hey, Coinbase wrote in March 13th, 2018 that Ethereum had regulatory clarity. And remember, that's before the Hinman speech. The Hinman speech was in June 2018. What were you referring to at that time? Because at the exact time, Clayton was still talking in public about how every ICO is an illegal securities offering. And here's what he's referring to. Yet we limit our trading to 4 that have regulatory clarity. So somebody had to tell them that those had regulatory clarity. And here's the date right here. That is a mystery. Well, this is also a mystery. Now, we know that the Freedom of Information Act request is for emails and communications between the SEC and a whole laundry list of people. One of the people on that list was Brad Burnham from Union Square Ventures. That's him right there. Lowell Ness right there, the attorney for Andreessen Horowitz, is on the list too. And I think almost everybody on this stage is on that list. But on March 28th, 2018, in this video you'll see it, but he gives the presentation to the SEC before they did the Hinman Ethereum free pass, okay? And he's on the FOA. My question is, yeah, we're going to get the emails, but what about the attachments? Does the Freedom of Information Act request include, if let's say this presentation he's referring to in this clip, if the presentation was attached to an email, are we going to get to see the presentation? And you'll notice here, that's him on the list. And then right here, this is my timeline, March 28th, Venture Capital Working Group meets with the SEC. Venture Capital Working Group was led by Andreessen Horowitz and Union Square Ventures to present their idea for safe harbor that would allow some tokens, Ethereum, to be categorized as utility tokens rather than securities. So here's the clip.
And I think that's where Brad came in and made. And I think that's where Brad came in and made an incredibly effective presentation in one of the days that we met with a variety of people at the commission as well as the CFTC. And so we got to hear the presentation at least 6 times that day. But it was so effective, and you could see light bulbs going on in their heads as to, oh gee, we didn't really quite grasp that concept.
Brad, do you mind giving us a summary of what you told them?
So basically we were arguing for the re-decentralization of the web, and we were pointing out that we're living in an era of very rapid consolidation around Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, and that competing with those, what I will call data monopolies, is not really possible by offering a better service. We actually saw this movie in the mid-90s when Microsoft consolidated the entire PC.
They're calling it re-decentralization, but we still don't know how many Ethereum tokens that Union Square Ventures and Andreessen Horowitz own. So it's what did Joseph Lubin call it? He said that if you could create your own reality if you said it enough times or something like that.
Industry, and IBM tried to compete with Microsoft by offering a better operating system called OS2 and failed miserably. What ultimately undid Microsoft's hegemony in the mid-90s was a shift in venue from the desktop to the web, and a shift in business model from packaged software to open source. It was really impossible for Microsoft to open source Windows given how much they had invested in their existing business model and their distribution channels. So the only way that one can expect it to compete with these dominant data monopolies is by changing the game, by changing the way the market works. And so if we think of the internet...
So he's doing a presentation to the SEC to change how the market works, but it's all in secret.
As an open public communications medium that fundamentally altered the way the entire media industry works, blockchains are open public data stores. The thing that Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon will not be able to do is open up their data sets. And so the argument that we made to the SEC is that this is the next wave of technology. If we're going to open the market for another wave of innovation, for emergent bottom-up startup innovation, the only possibility we have is to change the game, and this is the best chance we have. That's the argument that we try to make.
Okay, and then there's this, okay? Now, I'm pretty sure that it was this guy. Timothy Masad is the guy in front of Congress the other day who I think he was the only guy up there that answered no when the guy asked him yes or no whether Congress should move down the path of adequate guidelines and regulations. Then he went on to CoinDesk and told everybody who he's working with behind the scenes on his plan. Watch this.
Fair enough. For all of you, I want to end where I began. It was suggested that this hearing is not about regulation. Seems to me it is. Is it necessary for Congress to move down the path of adequate guidelines and regulation? Simply yes or no.
Yes.
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 I don't think so. Thank you very much, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
And we've had this huge kind of debate about, is it a security? Is it a commodity? So what I'm saying is, and Jay Clayton, by the way, the former Republican appointed chair, I should say, of the SEC under President Trump, he and I have kind of formulated this together. The idea is that the SEC and the CFTC would get together and do joint rules. They could either do them without an SRO. I think, frankly, it would be more efficient to create the SRO. Those rules, we would say, would apply to any platform that today trades Bitcoin or Ether. Now, you can make that list longer if you want. The idea is simply, let's establish jurisdiction without having to write a new definition of digital commodities or digital securities or digital assets or whatever it is. You know, there's no platform really that can be significant without trading one of those two. If you want to throw in Tether or...
So he's working with Jay Clayton, and of course they're focused on Bitcoin and Ethereum still, and they don't want any congressional regulations.
More just to make sure we get everybody, you could do that. But then you come up with these standards, and they would be the basic standards we need: protection of customer assets, prevention of fraud and manipulation, prohibition on conflicts of interest, adequate disclosure, adequate reporting, risk management, and some disclosure.
And once again, Jay Clayton's acting like he's some kind of innocent bystander and pretending like he wasn't at the SEC for years, when he could have done something about all this and we wouldn't have all been in this situation. Then there's this. Remittance alone are $589 billion global market. I'll start about here.
CBIT, to your point earlier. I think cross-border payments are, nobody talks enough about their importance in the global economy. Like 15 to 20% of e-commerce is already global. And that's one use case of just retail payments. Cross-border payments are, can be categorized in a wholesale, retail, and remittances. And remittances are often, not included under retail. But even remittances alone are a $589 billion global market that has been dominated by mostly traditional financial services providers. And there has been a lot of innovation in the fintech industry as well. But stablecoins and blockchain in general have been able to improve the speed and cost of many of these transactions, with stablecoins offering the added benefit of stability of value when properly collateralized.
All right. And then speaking of 589, I was checking, and I hadn't checked back, but Brad Garlinghouse normally keeps his following count at 589. He'll even unfollow somebody if he follows somebody new. He'll go and change it. But right now he's at 590. He needs some maintenance there. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. 589 was talked about today.